And take a look at this. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has captured unprecedented pictures of a newly discovered exoplanet. So what's an exoplanet, you ask? That is a planet that is outside our solar system.
The universe is vast, silent, and cold. For billions of years, Earth has spun around its star, a tiny blue world in a cosmic ocean. We've always looked up at the night sky with questions, with fear, with wonder. Are we alone? Or is someone or something out there watching us too? For decades, those questions were philosophical, belonging to poets, dreamers, and scientists who could only speculate. But now, the question has changed. It's no longer, are we alone?
Captured in this stunning image by the James Webb Telescope.
Well, first, the image is just gorgeous. It's absolutely fantastic.
But it's more than just a pretty picture.
But what have we just found? On a quiet night in 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope, the most advanced eye humanity has ever built, focused its golden mirrors on a strange visitor passing through our solar system. An interstellar traveler, an object not born in our neighborhood, not belonging to our star, was moving silently past. Astronomers named it 3I/ATLAS, the third confirmed interstellar object ever discovered. Most expected to see nothing more than ice, dust, and rock. But what Webb found shattered those expectations. Instead of a dead, tumbling chunk of matter, Webb recorded flashes, deliberate, repeating patterned bursts of light. They weren't like reflections from sunlight. They weren't like cometary jets of gas. They were sharp, rhythmic, structured, as if coming from an engineered source. For the first time in history, scientists had to whisper the unthinkable, that an object passing through our solar system might not just be natural, that maybe, just maybe, we were witnessing the signature of alien technology. And if that's true, then humanity's place in the universe just changed forever. In 2017, the world first heard the strange name Oumuamua. It was the first recognized interstellar object ever detected passing through our solar system. At first glance, it seemed like just another space rock, but its elongated shape, strange acceleration, and lack of visible outgassing baffled scientists. A few years later, in 2019, came 2I/Borisov, a comet-like body that looked more ordinary but still reminded us that interstellar wanderers do exist. Each time, the astronomical community was left with more questions than answers. Were these rare events, or had we simply never noticed them before? Then, in 2024, telescopes picked up something new, 3I/ATLAS. It was first spotted by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ATLAS, hence its name. Almost immediately, it looked different. Its orbit was hyperbolic, meaning it wasn't bound to our sun and had come from deep interstellar space. But unlike Borisov, its surface didn't shine like a comet shedding dust and gas. And unlike Oumuamua, it didn't appear cigar-shaped or pancake-flat. Its profile, though faint, suggested a complex geometry, something irregular and angular. Astronomers scrambled to point every available instrument at it. Its trajectory showed that it would pass within observational range for only a short window of time before disappearing back into the void, perhaps never to be seen again. That urgency meant only one telescope was powerful enough to extract the truth, the James Webb Space Telescope, equipped with infrared instruments so sensitive they can detect the faintest heat signature of a distant planet's atmosphere. Webb was aimed at 3I/ATLAS in early 2025. What Webb found wasn't just unexpected, it was unprecedented. Its readings suggested brightness fluctuations that didn't match natural rotation or outgassing. The light seemed structured, almost intentional, as though 3I/ATLAS was not merely a visitor, but a messenger. The James Webb Space Telescope was never designed to hunt for aliens. Officially, its mission was to peer into the first galaxies that formed after the Big Bang, to study the atmospheres of exoplanets, and to help us understand the evolution of stars and black holes. But by 2025, Webb had already proven itself as far more than a scientific instrument. It had become a cosmic detective, able to see details invisible to every other telescope humanity has ever built. Webb's massive gold-coated mirror, 6.5 meters wide, collects light with a precision unmatched by any ground-based observatory. Its instruments can detect tiny fluctuations in brightness, trace chemical fingerprints in distant worlds, and sense the faintest glow of heat from objects billions of light-years away. That same sensitivity made it perfect for observing something as faint and fleeting as 3I/ATLAS. From the moment Webb locked onto the interstellar traveler, the data began to confuse astronomers. Instead of the predictable dimming and brightening caused by a tumbling rock, Webb saw rapid, pulsed flashes. They weren't random. They repeated in cycles, sometimes lasting a few seconds, sometimes longer. And most intriguingly, the pulses shifted in intensity as though responding to some unseen rhythm. At first, mission scientists considered ordinary explanations. Perhaps 3I/ATLAS had an unusually reflective surface, metallic or crystalline patches that glinted as it rotated. But the timing didn't match. A natural spin would have created consistent, predictable flashes, not structured pulses with irregular spacing. Others suggested cometary outbursts, jets of gas shooting from beneath the surface, sparkling in sunlight. Yet Webb's infrared instruments showed no sign of heat release, no gas cloud, no dust. The deeper the team looked, the stranger it became. One set of pulses resembled binary code, sequences of on and off bursts like the ones and zeros of a computer. Another pattern repeated at intervals matching prime numbers, which in mathematics are often suggested as a universal sign of intelligence. To some, it seemed too extraordinary to be a coincidence. And so the whispers began. Behind closed doors at NASA, at the European Space Agency, at private observatories around the world, the question arose, had Webb just caught artificial lights in the act? The first clear light curve from 3I/ATLAS was received in late February 2025. Astronomers expected it to look like a jagged but ultimately natural wave, the kind produced by a rock spinning in space. Instead, the graph looked like something drawn by human hands. Sharp peaks rose in clean intervals, followed by equally clean valleys of darkness. It was as if someone had flicked a switch on and off, with impeccable timing. The pulses weren't blindingly bright. They weren't beacons blazing across the sky. They were subtle, detectable only through Webb's extreme sensitivity. But they carried a structure no one could ignore. In one sequence, the pulses repeated 3 times, paused, then repeated 5, then 7, 3, 5, 7 prime numbers. Another series appeared in binary, with long flashes corresponding to 1, short ones to 0. When decoded, the first string seemed meaningless, a jumble of data, but the second, eerily, resembled a repeating pattern for the ratio of hydrogen to helium, the most common elements in the universe. Was it deliberate, or was the human mind, so desperate for meaning, simply imposing patterns where none existed? NASA called emergency meetings with the Webb science team. Reports leaked to the press were vague. Unusual reflective properties, non-natural periodicity, further study required. But behind the official language was panic. If these lights were truly artificial, then 3I/ATLAS wasn't just a rock passing by. It was technology. And if it was technology, it meant someone had built it. Skeptics rushed in with alternative theories. Could cosmic rays striking the telescope's sensors have created false signals? The Webb team ruled that out quickly. Could ATLAS be coated in crystalline ice refracting sunlight like a mirror ball? Perhaps, but ice melts as it approaches the sun, yet Webb detected no evaporation, no dust halo. What about outgassing jets? The infrared silence of the object made that theory collapse too. One astronomer put it bluntly, "We've checked every natural explanation we can think of. None fit. If this holds up, we're left with the one explanation no one wants to say out loud." For decades, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence had been limited to listening for radio waves. But what if the aliens never used radio? What if their presence instead flickered through space in faint glimmers of light, and humanity had finally caught it? This wasn't the first time scientists had stared into the dark and wondered if they were seeing something unnatural. In August of 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio picked up a brief, powerful burst of radio energy from deep space. The signal lasted just 72 seconds, and when astronomer Jerry Eamon circled it in red pen on the printout, he wrote one word beside it: wow. For decades, the wow signal remained unexplained. It never repeated, never returned. Some believed it was the first true sign of alien communication. Others dismissed it as a one-time fluke of cosmic noise. To this day, it lingers like a ghost in the annals of astronomy. Then, in 2015, another mystery surfaced. A star catalogued as KIC 84622852, later nicknamed Tabby's star, began to dim in strange, irregular ways. Sometimes its brightness dipped by 1%, sometimes by 20%. Far more than any planet or dust cloud should cause. The media jumped on it with a sensational label, the alien megastructure star. Scientists searched for dust, comets, or some hidden natural explanation. Over time, they leaned toward vast clouds of debris, but not everyone was convinced. The data refused to sit neatly inside the usual boxes. And then came 2017, the year Oumuamua arrived. The first interstellar object ever discovered was unlike anything astronomers expected. It wasn't shaped like an asteroid or a comet. It didn't trail dust. It accelerated mysteriously, as if pushed by something unseen, yet without the typical signature of gas jets. A Harvard astronomer went on record suggesting it might be alien technology, a light sail drifting through space. His claim sparked controversy and ridicule, but it never truly went away. Each case followed the same pattern: a discovery that broke the rules, theories that stretched for answers, and a final shrug of uncertainty. But 3I/ATLAS was different. Wow, the signal was gone in a minute. Tabby's star was too far to probe directly. Oumuamua left us before we had the chance to investigate, but 3I/ATLAS had arrived in an era when humanity possessed Webb, a telescope capable of seeing things those earlier generations of scientists could only dream about. And the difference was this: 3I/ATLAS wasn't just acting strange, it was flashing lights, lights that looked organized, lights that looked intentional. The discovery fractured the scientific world almost overnight. On one side stood the skeptics, armed with caution. For them, extraordinary claims required extraordinary evidence, and artificial lights on an interstellar visitor was about as extraordinary as it got. They warned against repeating the mistakes of the past, when natural phenomena were sensationalized as alien encounters. To them, 3I/ATLAS was a puzzle, yes, but one that could and should have a natural solution. On the other side stood the dreamers, the bold few who dared to say what others feared. SETI researchers who had spent decades listening to silence across the radio spectrum suddenly found themselves in the spotlight. For years, they'd argued that alien civilizations might not use radio waves at all, but signals encoded in light. Now here was 3I/ATLAS, seemingly proving their point. Behind closed doors, debates turned heated. At NASA headquarters, one senior astronomer was reported to have slammed his notebook shut and said, "We've ruled out everything else. How long do we keep pretending it's not what it looks like?" Meanwhile, in Cambridge, a panel of astrophysicists drafted a statement urging restraint, warning that pattern recognition is a dangerous human instinct. We see order even in randomness. Politicians, too, began to take interest. If 3I/ATLAS truly carried artificial lights, then it wasn't just a scientific matter. It was geopolitical. Who controlled the data? Who got to decide how it was shared with the public? Intelligence agencies whispered about the implications. If it was alien, did it pose a threat? Could it be intercepted? Was it even wise to keep observing it? The public, however, had no patience for caution. News outlets seized on every leaked memo, every rumor. Headlines screamed, "James Webb sees alien beacon." Online forums exploded with speculation. Some people celebrated, calling it the most important discovery in human history. Others feared it as a harbinger of invasion. A few religious groups denounced it outright, claiming it was a test of faith or even a deception. In the midst of the chaos, one fact remained unchanged. Webb's instruments continued to record the lights. They kept pulsing, they kept repeating, they refused to be ignored. And whether natural or artificial, their mystery demanded an answer. If the lights on 3I/ATLAS were truly artificial, the implications were staggering. For centuries, humanity had asked the question in silence. Are we alone? That question was the foundation of philosophy, religion, and science itself. And now, for the first time, an answer seemed to flicker at us from the dark. Artificial lights would mean one undeniable thing: intelligence. Somewhere, sometime, another civilization had risen, had engineered, had built something capable of traveling between the stars. And that object, whether probe, vessel, or artifact, had wandered into our cosmic backyard. The enormity of that realization shook even the most grounded scientists. The scenarios were endless. Perhaps the lights were navigational beacons used to stabilize or steer the craft across interstellar space. Perhaps they were energy leaks, waste radiation spilling out the way a campfire throws sparks. Maybe they were a deliberate message, encoded in the simplest universal language: light. Or maybe 3I/ATLAS wasn't alive at all, but a relic. A piece of technology drifting for millions of years, still echoing the fingerprints of its makers. What haunted some researchers most was the possibility that the lights weren't meant for us at all. They might be signals to someone else, a conversation between civilizations we had accidentally overheard. And if so, then what did it mean that we'd caught even a glimpse? Were we intruders listening to whispers not intended for our ears? Philosophers warned of a coming cultural earthquake. Every belief system, every worldview would have to contend with the reality that humanity was no longer unique. Political analysts predicted global instability. Nations might hoard the data, fight for the prestige of first contact, or even militarize the skies out of fear. Economists speculated on the collapse of industries if alien technology hinted at new forms of energy or travel. And yet, amid the fear, there was awe. For artists, dreamers, and children staring at the night sky, the lights of 3I/ATLAS were proof that the universe was not empty, that life, intelligence, and wonder could thrive beyond Earth. The discovery was not just a challenge to science. It was a mirror, reflecting back to us the question of what it meant to be human, to be alive, to be one civilization among many. Telescopes can only watch 3I/ATLAS for so long. Its trajectory is steep, its speed relentless. Within months, it will slip beyond Webb's reach, returning to the darkness between stars. That urgency has sparked desperate plans. Some researchers proposed redirecting a probe already in space to chase it, though none are fast enough to catch it. Others argue for building a next-generation interceptor, a mission designed to launch within days of detection. But time is running out, and engineering reality does not bend to excitement. Meanwhile, SETI has begun combing through the light patterns, searching for hidden information. Could the pulses encode mathematics, chemistry, or even language? So far, no clear message has emerged. Only hints, tantalizing and frustrating. But the data keeps coming, and with each observation, the sense grows that we are glimpsing something vast, something deliberate. Governments face a dilemma: share everything with the world, or lock down the information until certainty is reached. Some officials fear panic. Others see opportunity, the chance to lead humanity into a new era. And hovering over it all is a single, haunting question. What if this is only the beginning?